Hey everybody, Tom Antion here for our Sunday night live show. So glad you could make it, and we're going to have a lot of good stuff tonight. I had a long weekend. I got a 1942 Rockwell Delta drill press. Must weigh 500 pounds. I love the old tools because they're built so darn good, you know. Let me get refresh here so we get going here. Make sure I can see everybody's comments. Make sure you say hello. Tell us where you're from. We'll give you a shout out for your website. And let's see who's coming on here. And if you wouldn't mind, give us a share so that we can get more people on the show. See people are rolling in now. Hey Charlotte, how are you? What's going on? Yeah, I had a long weekend working on, hey Sherry, Marilee, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. People are rolling in now. Yeah, I had a long weekend working on a drill press, doing some gunsmithing, getting ready for my accreditation, which that's coming along good. Sarah, hey, how are you, Sarah? Nice to see you. Well, we're going to have a good show tonight. Also, we always give a warning that sometimes I get a little riled up about the a-holes of the week, and the language can get a little tough. We're all adults here. It's late at night. Dean, how are you, man? Dean Hankey. Don't forget to put your websites up there so I can give you a little shout out. Now, our fake sponsor for today, you know, we always have a fake sponsor. I'm going to reach over here and get it, which is where I always keep it. Our fake sponsor, and that means that they aren't actually sponsoring us, is the At a Glance calendar company. I know it reads backwards for you, but what's up, Maya McPlay? Yeah, this is our fake sponsor for the week, the At a Glance calendar. You know, I'm Mr. High Tech over here, right? Doing this Facebook Live and doing all the cool things we do on the internet, but I have never had an electronic calendar ever. I've always had a written one. I can write it down. If you cancel on me, I scratch you out and write you in somewhere else. And this has never crashed ever on me, not once in all the years I've been doing business. So that's our fake sponsor for the evening. Let's see who's checking in here. Paper doesn't crash. That's right. Yeah, I've got two computers going here, so I want to see. Let's try to keep track of everybody here. It's hard to. Oh, I've got a cool thing on my news feed. It's called a Hillary Clinton deleted parody. It's hysterical. It goes to the song "Beat It" from Michael Jackson, but it's delete it. Hey Susanna, how are you? So it's on my Antion, same place you're seeing this thing. Okay, so well, here's what we got going on. We got some interesting mailbag stuff about my favorite speaker, and also firing customers. In the news, don't drink the water, learn how to ride your bike, and I wish girls were taking this test that I'm going to tell you about. In the scams, I'm going to give you a helicopter update, and the goons now want iTunes, apparently. Crazy scams out there. In the brutal self-defense, I originally was going to teach you about ripping. The ripping is ripping things, ripping ears, ripping eyes, things like that. But because of what happened today in the world, in the United States, I'm going to switch that up to something different. And we'll do maybe ripping next week. In the internet section, I'll tell you how to play your video. In the speaking tip, we're going to talk about lights over screens. And in the a-hole of the week. We got more dumbass executives out there. I'll tell you what, pencil pushers unite, I guess. Pencil pushers' lives matter. That must be it. And then the hero of the week, we're going to talk about unsung heroes. See who's, hey, Raven, how you doing? Roberto's here. John Abbott's here. Don't forget to throw in your websites. I'll give you a shout out. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so let's get to the mailbag. And please send your questions to orders@antion.com. Hey, Tom. Love your show. Thank you, Raven. Holly. Hey, Holly, how are you? ConsiderEtiquette.com. Holly Rouser. And, yeah, there's Susanna. How you doing? So, yeah, send your questions. I'll answer them on the show. Orders@antion.com. Unless it's something too specific that nobody else would care about, I'll just answer you directly. All right, so let's get to the mailbag. Harriet says, who are some of the best speakers you've ever seen? Hey, RC, nice to see you. RC from something, CQ here. Sponsor 101, Roberto. Laurel Lemke, hello from Tacoma. I have one absolute favorite speaker in my entire life. I've seen some good speakers in my day, but I have one absolute. His name is David Ring, and he's an evangelist, but in some settings he doesn't talk too much evangelism. In some settings he does. But the guy is just inspirational. I watched him again this morning when this question came in, so I could I just love the guy. The guy was born and dead, basically, and he was left laying on a table for 18 minutes before they realized that he could be revived. Hey, Charles, how are you? And websites, it's hard to see this darn thing. Koves.com, K-O-V-E-S-S. Yeah, for the site Australia's Passion Provocateur. Awesome. Hey, Rick, rickgoodfriend.com. So anyway, I saw this guy first speak at the National Speakers Association in I knew it was Warren here because there's all kinds of stuff going on the street. Yeah, John said he's seen David. He's great. So he's speaking, and first of all, so he ends up with cerebral palsy. He's a baby of the family, just crazy about his mother and father, and then his father dies and his mother dies, and he wants to commit suicide, and his one sister out of the whole family sticks with him and keeps with him. But he gets up in front of 2,000 professional speakers. He just, and I'm not making fun of him. I mean, he makes fun of himself, but I just try to give you a feel for what we're experiencing. So we don't know what to expect. He's kind of limping up there, and he talks really funny, and he says, I got cerebral palsy. What's your problem? And the whole place just hysterically busted up. Daniel, how you doing? Alan's here, yay! And then he went on to say how they told him he would never be able to ride a bicycle. He rode a bicycle. Never be able to drive a car. He drove a car. Never get married. Got married. Never have kids or be a dad. Has 4, 5, 6 kids now. Never be a speaker. And this is where he was, putting it to us speakers, because all the speakers are always scratching and crawling for a speaking engagement. And he said, well, they told me I'd never be a speaker. And of course, you have to really try to listen close because you can't understand them. And he says, well, you know what? From January to July of this year, I got 415 invitations to speak. Most speakers don't get that in their whole life, all right? And he says, if I get a little bit more, I think I'll go full time. And people are just cracking up. But you're laughing and crying. DavidRing.org, folks. But, I don't think he has any videos up there, so you have to go to YouTube to see videos of him. But he was the most impactful speaker I've ever seen. I'll never forget him. I was crying this morning as I saw some of his stories again, how his mother was taken from him, and everybody made fun of him, and she was his only solace, and oh, just touching, and really makes you think, how lucky we are. So, answer to that, Harriet, is David Ring. Okay, George from Canada wants to know, have you ever fired a client? Yeah, I've got one who's demanding to the point it's unreasonable. Absolutely. Let's see, who was this? George, yeah. Yeah, George, you have to the one thing nice about business is you get to make the decisions of how you're going to run your business. Now, in the beginning, when you're trying to get money in, and sometimes you have to bend and do whatever it takes to get the bills paid. I get that. But once you get past that point where, the business is supposed to serve you, yes, it's supposed to serve your clients for sure. That's how you bring your money in. But you're in business to serve you. Let's see, somebody else just emailed me. So you just get to decide, and if somebody is too demanding and being unreasonable, it's time to cut ties with them. And it doesn't have to be a jerk about it. You do have to fulfill whatever obligations you've contractually, got with them, but you can't. Dean Higgs is gone. Poof. And I've been around so long, I've recognized them up front a lot of times now, and I discourage them, and I set expectations before they ever contract me. I do this a lot when I speak. I let people know, hey, I'm not your psychiatrist. Hey, I'm not going to chase you around. You're booking me in this mentor program for a year, and I will, not let you down, but I will not chase you around either. You're a big person. You can make your appointments yourself and do your own homework and all that. I'm not your kindergarten teacher. So that kind of scares away some of the a-holes. So try to do a better job, George, setting expectations, and then if you get into something that's bad, fulfill your obligations and then cut it off. Because it's just not worth it. There's so many good clients out there to be had. You're spending all your time on one lousy one where you could have 3 or 4 nice ones. All right. So, and I don't mind working hard for any nice ones, time-wise. But if they're nice and appreciative, it just makes everything smoother. And at this point in my career, why should I put up with any kind of crap? I mean, it's just not worth it to me. I got plenty of money. I'm doing this because I enjoy it, so why should I make myself upset all the time? Okay, so that's the mailbags. Mailbag, please send me, let's see, Dean says I do a fairly massive intake so we don't get bummers on board anymore. Yeah, so some people make people apply to be a client, so yeah, that's cool. Okay, so announcements. Again, I only have 3 scholarships left. You're all crazy if you don't take advantage of one. It's a free thing. I've already started my accreditation process. I found out I could start now because I'm so close to my 100. So I've actually started that, and then as soon as that comes through, this deal is off, and there's only 3 left. So go to TomAntionWebinars.com. And it's the second webinar down at the bottom of this beige box. You can watch the webinar, and if you want in, you know the deal. Okay, also the notifiers, go to Antion.com/notify so we can, yeah, Roberto says really crazy for not doing it. I mean, he just learned a ton, and he's making money in his internet part of his business. So he's already been through the school. I think he graduated recently. Okay, so anyway, Antion.com/notify is where you get these desktop notifiers, and I need about 30 more people before I'll do a class to teach you how to use them. But sign up at Antion.com/notify, and you'll get desktop notifiers if your browser will allow it. Okay, and we're still I think about $1,800 short of our goal yet for my friend, the ex-FBI agent Gene Amon, had a brain tumor. So if it interests you to help out with that, a lot of people on here have already helped. But thank you. It's GoFundMe.com/SuperGene, Gene. GoFundMe.com/SuperGene. Okay, let's get to the news of the week. Don't drink the water. Right, please don't drink the water. And Roberto says go find his testimonial about the school, which let's see, where would that be? I think it's at greatinternetmarketing.com/scholarship deal. greatinternetmarketing.com/scholarship deal. You see Roberto's testimonial about going through the school. All right, don't drink the water. All right, now everybody's familiar with what's going on in Flint, Michigan, right, with all the lead in the water and stuff. Well, head down 100 miles southwest of San Antonio was a place called Crystal City, Texas, and the water was suddenly black and thick as oil, and it stunk. All right. And the city's water superintendent said the town had decided to clean the residue from the system for the first time in 20 to 30 years. You know, if they got an oil shortage, maybe gas prices will go down if they just turn it into gas for us. My goodness, thick as oil, just because they waited 20 to 30 years to clean out the system. Okay, let's see. Timothy Broad, 30 years old, was convicted in February because he robbed a convenience store, and he decided that he was going to get away on a bicycle. All right, so he had a face mask on, and he robbed and got all this cash, and he fell off his bicycle 3 different times trying to do his getaway. And he lost his disguise, and he lost all the money in the street, and he got arrested. So learn how to ride your bicycle if you decide you're going to rob. Now, India, I don't know if you know this or not, but India is highly known for people cheating on tests. And to the point where the parents actually got ladders and were crawling up into the windows of the testing rooms giving answers to the kids taking the test. It was like the Alamo, just climbing on the walls, right? Well, in February, they had a recruiting day for some prestigious jobs, and they were administering tests, and so they made all the test applicants sit out in a field in just their underpants. This is why I said, oh, I wish some girls would take the test. They had to put the test on their inner thighs just to make sure they didn't have any way to cheat. And I mean, I laugh about this, but I read a couple years ago, and I'm not ragging on Indian people, all right, but things are a little lax there sometimes, especially treatment of women and things like that. But I read that there's a lot of doctors come into the United States from India, and they're supposed to pass a test to be able to practice. But there's a loophole that they can extend the test for like long periods, years and years and years, and never having passed a test to practice medicine in the United States. And now that I see this, a lot of them cheated on their test anyway. So just be a little leery. See if the doctors that that may be treating you actually passed a test in the United States to be a doctor. All right. Okay, so that's the news. Let's get to the scam bag, and what do we find in the scam bag, folks? Put it in your text box there. You know what it is. And I did get a letter because I talked about beware of people taking gifts from people in helicopters. Holly says, holy smokes, most of my doctors are from India. That explains a lot. Well, there you go. I didn't make this up. All right, so anyway, what do we find in the scam bag, folks? We find the scumbags. And people ask me, well, with this last one, I talked about Jeremy Johnson from iWorks, and I totally forgot to tell you how a helicopter worked into this. I said, beware, people from helicopters bearing gifts. Well, the whole gist of last week was about scammers using charities to kind of cover their tracks of all the bad things that they do. So they give some of the money to charities to make themselves look good, but they're still scumbags. Well, Jeremy Johnson used his personal helicopter. Yes, that's right, Dean, scumbags. Hey, Claire, how you doing? So Jeremy Johnson, with all this ill-gotten gains, bought his own helicopter and got a helicopter rating. And by the way, I'm working on my gyro rating right now, gyrocopter rating. Some of you don't know I was a professional pilot, charter pilot a long time ago. Hey, Sully's out. I haven't seen it yet. Brian, hey, what's going on? Hey, Claire. So he would use his helicopter to go in relief efforts for floods and earthquakes and stuff like that to look like the wonderful guy on Earth. And he's got this boiler room just robbing people left and right. All right, so just be careful of. So that's how the helicopter worked in. All right, but these scams going on now. My God, I guess they're working because people are, they're still doing these scams. Scams don't last if they don't work, right? But people are making you buy iTunes cards to pay, they call up, say, we're from the IRS and you've got back taxes and we're going to have you arrested if you don't pay them. But, this sounds so ludicrous. But if you buy an iTunes card and give us the code off of it, we'll take care of it. The IRS asking for iTunes cards. And they're doing it as if they're the Federal Trade Commission, if they're the attorney for your grandchild who was just in a fake accident that didn't exist. They're telling you to go get iTunes cards. So they're promising, we'll get you a big grant if you go buy a big iTunes card. It's just, I don't know. People are either gullible or they're preying on old people. But old people wouldn't even know what iTunes cards are. So I don't know. Richard, hey, you doing? Sully was great. Brian says, saw it yesterday. Awesome. Yeah, I always wait for everything to come to the, Netflix or DVD or something because I just don't want to go to theaters anymore because of the danger, crowds and stuff. And like I said, a lot of people refuse to change their way of life, but, like I said, I've been around a lot. I'll get to that in the brutal self-defense section. But anyway, scam, if somebody's telling you that they want an iTunes card, it's a scam, you can be sure. Dean says, Clinton School of Debauchery graduates. Yeah, like I said, I have that on my timeline here. I got this this parody with Hillary Clinton called Delete It instead of Beat It. Okay, so the self-defense tip, I was going to talk to you about ripping. I'll save that maybe for next week, but because of what happened today, I'm going to change my iTunes a little bit and talk to you about something different. Before I get to that, though, I found another awesome replacement for what we call tactical pens. Tactical pens look ominous. They're hardened pens that's got hard tips, and they'll break glass on one end, and you can poke people in the eye and the neck and the ears and everything. But they look like they're military stuff, so they're starting to get confiscated. This thing, and some of them can cost $100 or more. This thing I got today at Northern Tool. I was buying some cheap tool crap today, and it's called Ironton, 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 and it's a pen that's got, and it's metal, and it's sturdy as heck. It's got a two rulers on it in millimeters and inches. It's got a level inside it. It's got a stylus for working on iPads, and it's a pen, and it's metal. This is beautiful. I think I paid $3 for this. All right, you'll never in a million years get this confiscated. All right, you'll just say, hey, I do a lot of work. I'm a seamstress. I'm a mechanic. It doesn't make any difference. It just doesn't look ominous, but this could do some serious damage. All right, so it's an Ironton pen. Beautiful. Got it for, I think, like I said, $3 or something like that. Okay, so anyway, self-defense tip I'm changing up today because of, look what happened today, folks. I hope you guys, excuse me, you folks, guys is sexist, right, are getting the point that you got to take care of yourself self-defense wise. Today, we had a bombing and a potential bomb in New York City. We had another one in New Jersey. And we had a stabbing in a mall in Minnesota by a guy dressed like a security guard. Now, if you don't think more of this is coming and coming and coming, you are seriously naive, and you're probably going to get what you deserve for ignoring all this stuff. I hate to be so harsh about it, but you know, I've lived my life thinking security, safety, things like that. So's Alan Baris on here tonight from, put your website in there, Alan, if you're still here. I don't know what more we can do to help you get, just smack you around. You almost need self-defense from me. I like to smack you around to get your head out of your butt, that you've got to be careful. So I want to give you a tip on today, specifically on the mall stabbing. And the tip is number one, you don't let anybody get near you that you do not know. All right, and yes, I know you go to the mall. I know you go to concerts. You go to movies. You go places where the streets are crowded. I get that. But surviveanddefend.com for Alan Baris. Like I said, I don't know what more we can do to help you stay safe. If you think that it never can happen to you, well, guess what? Good luck. Guys is not sexist, Tom. It's a unisex term. The origin from the descriptors of Guy Fawkes' plot in the 17th century against English government. Anyone who tells you it's only for men is ignorant. I can't click on see more right now. Well, the only thing I can tell you, Charles, is I spent 13 years in Washington, D.C. And if you said guys to a girl in Washington, D.C., excuse me, a woman, she would probably just cut your balls off. All right? I'll tell you what, in certain areas up here, whoo, I was trying to date up there, you'd pull a chair out, somebody would just look at you like you were a monkey, or like from a different planet. All right, so in some case, it's better just not to say certain things because if they don't understand it, or if they have a certain feeling about it, they're going to let you have it. But anyway, thanks for that history lesson. That lesson. I'll read that more when I can click on see more. So anyway, back to self-defense. You've got to keep people away from you. Don't get near people. That's the first thing. And it came out today on the news that, and this is something we talk about in brutal self-defense, and it's been talked about for years about distance and closing distances and what's legal and what isn't to hurt somebody that's coming after you, all that stuff. And there was a thing called the 21-foot rule. Alan told me there's been some updates on that. But anyway, today, either the governor or the mayor, I forget. No. This was the Minnesota thing. They watched the video, and the guy with the knife closed about 20 feet to try to kill this off-duty police officer in less than 2 seconds. Less than 2 seconds, 20 feet away with a knife, all right? And the guy, the off-duty policeman, shot him. He went down. Guess what? He got back up. Shot him again. Went down. Got back up and was this close when his third shot took him down permanently. All right, so, I mean, first thing is don't let people get near you. But the second thing is, and I want you to go try this for a day. Go out as you do your normal everyday activities. I want you to watch people's hands. Where are their hands? This guy walked into this mall with, they haven't identified the knife yet, all right? But carrying a knife in his hand. It wasn't in his mouth, okay, with his hands in his pocket. He's not going to stab you. It was in his hands. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Nancy Matthews just joined us. So I want you to watch people's hands, because you got to do something. When somebody can go 20 feet and stab you in less than 2 seconds, you don't have a lot of time to think about this. But guess what? If you'd have seen that guy at 40 feet and was watching his hands, and another thing, the guy was dressed like a security guard. Well, if a security guard comes up to you, you might be looking at his badge or his face or whatever, if he was real, all right? But guess what? They're pulling tricks to surprise you. So watch the hands. A police officer in full police garb is not going to come up to you unless there's some, really bad stuff happening, with his gun drawn and pointed at you, or his taser pointed at you, or a knife or anything, if they're real, all right? Unless there's a threat that's happening and you were part of it, because he wouldn't be pointing at you if you weren't part of it. So watch the hands. So I'm challenging you to tomorrow go about your daily business, but watch people's hands, and you will notice and have more time to react if somebody is coming after you. Now that doesn't help the bombing stuff. So again, keep away from any suspicious packages, keep away from dumpsters, garbage cans, postal boxes. You don't see them too much anymore. But anything where somebody could hide a bomb, it'd be hard to hide one in a postal box because they wouldn't have the keys to it. But a garbage can and the dumpsters, it's just, please, just try to make, be more careful out there. Virgus, how are you? First training in law enforcement is to watch the hands. That's right. The command is show me your hands. That's exactly right. And guess what, folks? The police are rightfully so getting, more and more nervous of anything that's going on. Hey, Ilya, hey, there's my original geek from 1997. Hey, superstar Ilya, nice to see you, man. So you got to watch the hands, and if you ever get stopped in a car, and I carry, I got a concealed carry permit, I'm going to roll my window down, I'm going to have my hands on the steering wheel, and I actually extend my fingers. So, and I say, hello, officer, how can I help you? And if he says, can I see your license and insurance? I say, officer, in some states I'm not required to do this, but I just do it. Officer, I'm a concealed carry permit holder. I've got a gun at a certain location here. I want you to know that. And my wallet is near there, so you tell me what you want me to do. And I'll let them, and they appreciate that, because I'm clearly, there's no way I could shoot them, go over and shoot them with my mouth, all right? So then I follow their instructions very carefully. You don't get belligerent, like Chris Rock has a funny thing on that, on how to, if you get stopped by the police, how not to act. It's hysterical. Yeah, Alan says he does the same if stop. Alan says, when I reach people in the active shooter response classes, teach people, we teach them to show the police their hands when exiting for the same reason. Yeah, like if you're leaving a building that there's an active shooter, you know, and you're carrying stuff, and they don't know, and who's the shooter is. You could take a bullet for that. So no, it's like no, it's not me. It wasn't me. So anyway, that's your self-defense tip. All right, let's get to your internet tip. Video players. First of all, let me tell you a little theory about using video. First of all, we love YouTube. Totally love YouTube for one purpose: to catch people and drive them off of YouTube. Okay? They've got billions of people there, right? I want to get them on an entity I control. All right? So we love YouTube for that. Got hundreds, I probably have close to 1,000 videos out there. Catching people. Some of them only have a small amount of views on obscure keywords, but it's catching people, but once you get them to your website, you don't want them to easily go back to YouTube. And yes, it's easy to use a YouTube video on your site. I do it occasionally for stuff that I don't care that much about. Or if I'm trying to jack up something on YouTube. But once you get them to your site, the best practice is to have your own video player connected to something like Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is a repository for big files. And you don't want to load up cheap hosting with a bunch of big video files. Your site will never load, and you'll crash, and you'll overuse your bandwidth and all that. So you have the video on Amazon S3 connected to a good video player on your site. And see, if you're using YouTube, it's easy for them to click back. Hold on. Oh, he's... Oh yeah, Ilya's telling me some. Ilya is great. He's been great since 1997 when I first met him, giving me tips on ways to improve my Facebook Live. But anyway, a good video player doesn't let them. If you use YouTube, they can easily click back to YouTube. It's always going to be like that. Well, when we get them to our site, we want them to stay at our site, and a good video player can do all kinds of things. I mean, they can you can display buy me links at any time during the video. You can put opt-in buttons. You can have statistics of how long people watch the video before they bagged out. You can make video landing pages. It'll convert videos for you from weird formats, and you can do split testing with videos. Now, the player I use is about $150. You can get free ones, but if you want all that to do all that stuff, you go to greatinternetmarketing.com/video selling. greatinternetmarketing.com/video selling. And that's my affiliate link to the one we use. It's about $150, but fairly easy to use. Hooks up to Amazon S3, which is just pennies for storage. So up your ante with video players, and don't send them back to YouTube. Use YouTube to send them to you, and then you keep them there. All right. Speaking tip. All right. Now, I see this all the time. People go and they're setting up a screen, or somebody has set up a screen in the hotel room or wherever the thing is. But right above the screen and just in front of it is a light in the ceiling shooting straight down, or maybe a couple of them if the screen's big enough, shooting straight down. Well, what this does is it washes out the screen. So as a good professional presenter, you should ask maintenance. You should be in there ahead of time checking all this stuff out. Ask maintenance. A lot of times you can't do this stuff yourself. The ceilings are too high. And in some hotels, if you touch something, the union will go crazy on you. So You ask maintenance, they get this big pole, and they can usually unscrew the lights right above the screen so people can see it better. So it's a little tip, but I mean, if you're going to be sitting there for 45 minutes to 3-4 hours with showing visuals, you don't want them to be all washed out. It makes it look like you created them poorly. See, so just the little tiny professional tip, get those down lights off of the screen. Okay, that's your speaking tip. Now, your a-holes of the week. Now, first of all, I'm still on this fucking Copernic, little son of a bitch. I told you it was going to trickle down. I told you now it's going everywhere. Now kids in high school are doing it. What the fuck? Somebody needs to stand up for this, these people. Luckily, he lost a sponsor, but I told you this is how fast something goes downhill. You let a guy like this get away with a piece of crap like that, doing something stupid like that nobody's ever done pretty much in history, and he gets away with it. Now everybody's doing it. I mean, the world is, it's just sickening to me, the kind of shit that these people do. Mary Lee says, "Oh my God, I remember you." But anyway, he's not my a-hole of the week. The executives at Falmouth Volunteer Fire Department near Fredericksburg, Virginia. I don't know any names on this yet, but they are my assholes of the week because they're disciplining a captain and a sergeant in the fire department, volunteer fire department, who rushed an infant girl to the hospital who was having seizures, infant, all right, in the fire truck. Because the ambulance, they're supposed to have an ambulance do this, but the ambulance was 15 minutes away. And they have an infant baby in their hands, seizuring. And they can drive directly to the hospital in the fire truck and give her oxygen and the stuff on the way. So they did it, saved the baby's life, and now the fuckheads from probably some non-paid city council people that never had any power in their whole life are disciplining these people instead of giving them a fucking medal. Cannot believe it, people. Hey, Dave, how are you? So they're my assholes of the week. Whoever is in charge of disciplining two heroes who made a decision to save a life rather than follow some bullshit rules. All right, now I'm sure, I'm not in that field, I'm absolutely sure there is some kind of reason that, you know, an ambulance is better. But I'll tell you what, if I drop dead now and the ambulance shows up in 10 minutes, thanks a lot, all right? Thanks a lot, all right, for your fucking rule, all right? You know, so it's just ridiculous that, so they're my a-holes of the week, executives at the Falmouth Fire Department. All right, now my hero of the week. I'm going to switch up a little bit here. For my hero of the week, I'm trying to get people to start watching for what we call unsung heroes. An unsung hero is a person who has done a really good deed, and the term actually came about that they did something that kind of changed the world, but got little recognition for it. So I was looking through some of these folks today, and I picked one, but what I'm trying to do today is something bigger than that. So I picked a woman named Helen Taussig, Taussig. Helen Taussig. Now, back in the day, she overcame gender discrimination. Now, I'm not talking about the 71 different genders that the infinite wisdom of Facebook people have put out, all right? I'm talking about male, female. She's a doctor, or she's at least in the medical field. And she is credited with establishing pediatric or children cardiology, or working on the heart, and developed surgical techniques that have saved millions of children. Never heard of her, did you? I never heard of her. That's an unsung hero. So now there's a guy. Now I don't know who Lowell Milken is. I hope he's not a bad guy, but he has a site called LowellMilkenCenter.org. Lowell, Lowell, Milken, Milken, Center, Center.org. And he's encouraging people. Well, he may be dead. I don't even know who the guy is. I didn't have a chance to look it up. But he's encouraged people to start unsung hero projects all around the country, maybe the world. So I thought that's a great thing. You know, get a lot of people recognition. Maybe if people got recognition for their good deeds, even though, yeah, a lot of people are just doing it out of the goodness of their heart, maybe more people would do good things. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there to everybody. Certainly, if I had a kid saved by Miss Helen, I would be thankful for her for fighting her discrimination in the medical field back in the day to save millions of children's lives, especially if it was one of my kids. Right? So anyway, that's the Unsung Heroes Project. Helen Taussig, Taussig, is our hero of the week. And the LowellMilkenCenter.org does other things too, but they have the Unsung Hero Project. Yeah, a lot of thumbs up for that. Good. So that's our show for tonight. So thanks for stopping by. Make sure you go to GoFundMe.com/SuperGene, Gene, to help out the FBI guy with the brain tumor. Like we always want you to do is stay home. That's what I like to do. Stay safe and make some money. I'll see you next week. Catch you later.